Buddhi Dhamma.
Ta tongbo global shege susung.
Jambu Dhamma.
Yeah, the data card,
Rata ko jambu semji dojo dan dengan itang.
what is on the card?
Dombo dojo also.
Disco. Now we're going to say the prayer on page number 10. In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the stage of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, feel bias, attachment, and anger. This ground, undoubtedly perfumed, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land. Idam Guru Rana Mendala Kameyadaya.
야, 나 그거 송다 대랑 내 대랑 송로다. 하나 루마 정도 인세 루미 자들은 냠을 좀 공개로. 그만 중앙 질라 들을 뭐 됐었는데 들은 줄 알고 있고.
Yeah.
음.
Good morning. Thank you for coming, everyone. Where you are, and so glad to have you and join me in today's discussion and practice. So I wish you well, regardless where you are, and we are connected. And so today, I'd like to request to you, first of all, we're going to practice Antara meditation. And the way we're going to practice Tara meditation is this. I'm going to release the Tara prayer and the long version of the Tara prayer. And while you are listening in the chantings or the prayers of Tara, Arya Tara, and you can do the following thing. You can recite follow the music, the prayer, and recite in the Arya Tara's heart mantra silently, right? Or mentally. Or if you can follow, and you may follow it, and then focus on the vivid image of that wisdom entity, the wisdom being of Arya Tara, and so visualize her present, and then also truly to feel the sense of her blessing and her presence, and just truly that bring yourself mentally and in front of the Arya Tara, and so as if you are actually being brought to her presence and now listening to her. So she is saying that, and that's the sacred chantings, and you are listening to it. So that's the second way you can meditate. And so otherwise, just relax. And I know that people are worried these days in general everywhere, and you might have some concerns. And but regardless of what, and in this next 15 minutes, just relax and listen to or follow the chanting and meditate on Arya Tara, her image, and reciting her sacred heart sutra mentally or silently. And then after that, and then we begin our today's discussion.
Chicken sungen chogi Genma Malu choki korlo Gindi Rangi yuki sonam Tuma Chatil raktu gawa jibi Ugin yuki tewa bilma Shiva rab shituta lai Dida jikin wadu dema Chatil sashi chomi zonam Thamche gupar nipa nima Chongir yogi ge ungi Pongpa thamche nambar jilma Chatil dawi dungwi ugim Genpa thamche shinto varma Rilbi tune yeba mile Takpar shinto yera dema Chatil kilpa thami Bhavi chirina yema Echam hen kumke ne kurgai Jai puni nampar juma Chatil sashi yena chahi Tilginin jinshaki duma Chonyir jinze yigi ungi Rimpa dinpo nami kema Chatil dema gema jima Nyanyin deshi chun nima Swaha om dayana vinde Deepa chenpo jompa nima Chatil kinne korla gami Jai luni rakto gema Ige chupi nani kedi Rikpa humle jema nima तुरे शामी दापे होंगे नंगे सावन नीमा रीरा बिंदा राधा बीजे जिक्न सुनम यो वालीमा छाछिल नाये कोई नामे रिदाता चिंचाना नामा तारा निजे भेद की गे दूना माले परनी सिरमा छाछिल नाये तो नंगे वो राधा मियम जी के किन्ने गोछा गावा जी Sedami langit pasirma Chatil ni madawa yeti Jinni bola yera sirma Harani je tu tarai Shintu japoi rini silma Chatil deni sunam kete Shivi tu dayada dema Dindaro lange chinsunam Chompa dure rachonima Savi magite padida Chatil wani nishu tachi Kilwa di nyurduna Gilyum jemato
야, 당고 좀.
Great, thank you. Let's start today's discussion.
그렇게 당원에 나랑도 단다듯이 스타식도 랑 진진 당전 지원 좀 봐서네. 땡고 주기 시기도 단단하고 랑 진진 시도 랑 진진 시험 직당지나 나랑도 지금 나세 지금 담보 셈는 요새 버스 나세도 용조 간다지 용어잖아. 나세도 나도 다요트 단 망게 딱 봐서 망게 도사데 가르서 풍봉 알았던데 단 하버 나도 주지 풍보들라 때는 밀리리에 봐서 말라 미진이 타지 토라 어떻게 그 도시 풍봉 어때 더 천지들이 풍보질라네 망도 따네 망도 따비건 때라 때네 아 난진 침보 답이 답받아 완전 시침부 될 기용 어때 기용을 썼더니 될라 되니 때 완전도 저다 말이 바로 말이 뛰어온 거 소대니 nga tela dokon yang ten do so te do do chati nga penachi thinking do dubun ka chare ndo cha shedang ge ngala songchum do jine phasho te mendo pat pa phujang do yang ka chare de jeng so te ri ta do do sem mango zo yang so te ta ngaron do ta jangdur chigo karjna sem nga de ngalo sem nga chitang ngaron do lisum ni yo ta so ro sem tela cha mango yo ngaron do chita 사위 아주 처음에 대화도 그 등은 뭐 버려 사위 대화 공내 용어도 등을 공내 용어도 대 삼로 때문에 샘텔 차망고 주원의 차포르직 샘고 코르직 배 등을 좀 봐서 사원 로진의 등을 줘요 그래서 샘 코르직 대기 땡기 올 때서다 아주 대기 땡기 샘 강에 받던 등을 땡기 샘 강에 받던 무엇이야지 아니 대기 땡기 샘때야 됐어 컴페턴트 와다 등을 땡기 샘때서 막 가자치 다 로종스나 소트시고 로장지 로장주 로텔라 챵프라 몽고즈는 띵오네 로드가 또 야가kan 바하고 차고 야가디야 컴페턴가 또 디가트마 메아조가 텔라 로장스고라 로종지 때니다 대치오스 조네 랑치오르즈베 로테 로드가 쇼테 젠치오르즈베 로테 로 야가 쇼르스타 텐타다 랑 로드가 랑치오르즈베 로드가 쇼텔라 카르카르다 다 같은 바몽한 도송다 아니 다도세야 로고테네지 다 레도세 로데마 시시 가정 용도 왔다 단다 대지 용을 어떤 인지지 토아이나 딱 배고 요래서 좋은가로 일로 때리지 소수 삼당네 때리 셈나 삼로 때리 간다간다 근데 셈티 지스는 되지 간다 용도 셈티 지스는 때 딱시 땅 거랬어 또 검진하다 때리 자검진에 보였어 그랬던 거 같아
So we are still essentially focused on the same topic, and that is everything we at this point we needed to know about. We needed to do something about it. Is essentially is two things, and first we call the self-cherishment, and that is from the mind training perspective. At the same time, we also focus on another aspect of this practice, that is others' cherishment. So far we've been we have been focused on the self cherishment or self-centered attitude or self misperception of self, the misperception of self. And so that this topic is absolutely relevant to our everyday life and actually our every single moment of our very experience of existence. This is because we claim, we feel, and we do respond to something that's always related to I, but we never question the source or the origin or the status or the characteristics of that very I. And like in the previous Sunday, we discussed about the true status of I or self or person essentially is something is nominal. Is nominal is the production of the designation. It is the label, something is established through the process or the procedures of labeling, and so therefore the I ultimately or essentially and that we claim and we do believe is ourself and is a nominal, okay, is not a substantial. And we say it is a nominal is because you cannot really find that very I when you track down or when you try to analyze and try to find out objectively. Okay, you cannot do it, right? And therefore, the only conclusion we can draw on, and at the end of our searching on our analytical studies, investigation, and we only thing we find is that is something is nominal. Okay. And again, when we say it's nominal, is because say you called yourself I, and lots of time when we say I, we refer to, and the I is one of our 5 skandhas, 5 aggregates, right? And 5 components that constitutes our very identity. So this also can tells you that we as person or self actually is a designation and of the 5 skandhas, 5 aggregates. So first of all, let's say for example, like the aggregates of a form, right? What is the form? So when we say form, normally we will refer to in this particular context is our body, our physical existence, our body. So our body, it seems, is ourself and is a person itself, right? But again, like we did this repeatedly in the past, when you examine and use the same, utilize the same methodology or the analytical searching sort of tool, and you try to identify and find out, right, that very I within your physical body, you cannot find it because this form, the body, the physical entity is the production of 5 proto elements: water, fire, earth, and space, and wind, right? And so, but we never really realized this. We've been established, or we are the productions of this nominal. Something is nominal, and as a designation of the 5 aggregates. So we say I or me, and as if something is objectively and of there. So then, from this very misperception and misidentification of by misidentifying yourself with your body, and you attach to this body. But that very misperception itself is avidya, is ignorance, is unknowing, is a misinformed perception, right? Because you misunderstood and you messed up, and you failed to really identify yourself, and so therefore you attach to, then you attach to that very mistakenly established identification or the selfhood. And then what happened? So the attachment desire rise. Attachment or desire at this point, when you look at the relationship between you and your attachment, your misperception of self and your attachment. So attachment, as if doing something that's your favor, like providing favorable conditions, and do something that's to make you happy, sort of, right, and to please you, and so that very mentality or mental activity in attachment, it seems that you always do you a favor, right? And then when you look at the relationship between that misperception of self and the anger or the hatred or aversion, and you will realize that what kind of rule that very anger or the aversion, right, hatred is doing. And so that very destructive, afflictive emotion of hatred ignorance, hatred, and aversion, and is something like they are protecting you. They're acting like a protector to protect your misperception of self. So, see, then at this point, you can see the relationship between the misperception of self, right, give it sort of power to the attachment. And so attachment then sort of can justify its action and try to as if providing something to your favor and make you happy, right? And at the same time, the anger or hatred and aversion, also this misperception of self, providing and empowering, give it a power, let it sort of doing something that's as if that very destructive, afflictive emotion is to protect you. In reality, we know it is not, right? And so anyway, the point is that when we say I and me and myself, we essentially only refer to two things. One is our body, another is our mind. Okay, as just like our body, can divided into it's involved with many different aspects, right? It's the production of all kinds of components, right? Similarly, when you analyze yourself, looking for your identity and as a personal self, and from a mental point of view, mentally, and you will find actually your mind again is can be divided into all kinds of aspects, or involved with immense amount of all kinds of forms of aspect or different entities, right? Within that immense amount of different aspects, and that your mind is being sort of composed or being constituted, and you will find that essentially only have two things, right? One mental aspect of your mind, the mental aspect of your mind is positive, is virtuous, and is acting or performing in something that brings happiness upon to you, right? Or producing then the happiness itself. So that that virtuous aspect of your mind doing the very job is to make you happy and created the favorable conditions and for you. Okay? That's a virtuous aspect of mind. And so it started with the seeds, as if you plant the good quality and production and some kind of thing, and with from seeds level and all the way to the harvest, the time of the harvest. And similarly, when you look at your mind from a various perspective, or from this immense aspects of mental entity point of view, you will find that there are kinds of types of mind that is very negative and very destructive. And why it's negative and destructive is because that type of mind and mentality, or the mind, is doing, the only thing they do is to create the suffering and the conditions of suffering, and invite you or take you to that very miserable state of life experience. So therefore, there's two types of mind, and within our mind, when you look at yourself as personal self, and from a mind point of view and mentally, and you will see that that's how you end up. So you are the two forms of mind there. There's one type of mind is like actors of and happiness, and the other mind is like acting like the actors of suffering. Okay, so our task here and our job is, and we call it here, this is the mind training, right? So the mind training is that to inform us, to teach us, right, and to make ourselves be aware of and what kind of mind we have and what kind of type of the mind that doing what form of a particular job, and then because of that, an action or deed or job, and how they affect us. That's our task here. So that's the training of our mind. So be more specifically here, our job is through this mind training to understand that there are two forms of mind, right? Or mentality regarding the self-identity. One is called the self-cherishment, and that's the ill mentality, and that's mistaken mentality, and that's the cause of the suffering. And we have been studied a lot about the defects of flaw, of falseness, and the negativities of this ill mentality, the self-cherishment, right? And the self-cherishment is produced and represented by lots of different negative mind or the afflictive emotions such as jealousy, pride, and doubts, and arrogance, and aversions, and so on and so forth. So our goal and our job, the task here is that so clearly identifying the defect of the self-cherishment, try to minimize that, and eventually to reduce it. Or eventually to root out this ill mentality from our mind by clearly understand its negative impact and the negative force. And so this is you can say this very process of study and understanding your own mind, particularly in this context, that is by understanding, understanding, and investigate the self-cherishment, right? If you go through this process clearly, step by step, and focus on this very process of analysis, and this is a form of meditation. So what you are doing is you are engaging in a form of meditation. That meditation is called analytical meditation. And we're going to talk, we have talked about the self-cherishment, and it's the downside of it quite a bit. We're going to talk a little bit more once you finish this, and then we're going to move on the positivity or the all the wonderful qualities of other cherishment.
Oh yeah. 같은 표현이 나. 데드리 정화 만트와상 니월 좀든데기 송화 공주 캄보 남지경 롱르 파던 라마 담바 남진 거기 bombal리 톤상 니와 데와 니시 톤상 니라 데오른도 바 능을 종스정 만들진데 젠기 꿀 나양 기위쇼 론드 머닌라 저 지랑기 카나 마토바 셔터트 바바터 ngangan shiki jigpershepa gandataw the store kilembi dichin lokta jan deongdana dugsi odan de ane tal lokta se at kandas nginjin jemor lokta se at nginjin kadazna ane mepa chigla yobrn zambachla lokportawas gro jetang jena ane 선지 좀 된디가 아니 담지 캠비 이식이 ዝ급이 아니 디가 ዝ급이 때니 많이 버지네 라마 담바 디바친데 바탕 아조라 소튼지 된 깔세 고르즈나 그런 개와지나 대화 중간 아주 대화도 거리 등은 도고 말때나 대화도 강내 연구래즈나 개와리 연구래즈 개와 기위 심대 당대지나 그런 대화도 당대고 등은 대당 먹이위 심대 당대 원티케나 기 개월링 예승 거 셀릴라 때니 등은 당대 연구래즈 배 차상 지방아도 배출 가도나 법든지 요다 이낭 등아로 로티솔라 하고 그러 곰바로 백 시키치 손에 디가 초트트 바바 나오지네 먹이쇼라 로즈기 그러지 로즈도 니시기로도 아니 멋지 시네 디솔라 rumbi logic yoda karzina luqtai soso de jingoni changsang gi de yacha ya thamba khilendo ji matapi lokbarta wa jore me pala yobren be lokbarta wa tiang gres ta lokbar me ber yobbarta zuma te dogdun zumi dangzin de re do de de lokta jan de na de gizne ta ngin chi lokta de ngin chi ran de
Awesome. Now, if we have a copy of translation, and please go to page 49. And on page 49, on the third paragraph, here it says, we should never fool ourselves about the fact that happiness arises from virtue and suffering arises from evil. This is a sword has been stated by the transcendent subduer, is written in text by learned masters elaborating his thoughts, and it can be heard in the glorious holy masters' songs of spiritual realization. Everyone desire happiness and wish for not even the slightest misery. Yet, when others encourage us in the direction of wholesome conduct, we fail to heed their words. We engage in proscribed and natural misdeeds like water pouring downhill, and act reluctantly to restrain them. Here within us is an evil holder of wrong views. In this paragraph, the most important point is wrong view. Okay, the concepts of or notion of a wrong view. So, what is wrong view? And simply speaking, wrong view is you viewed or you regard something does not exist at all, but you believe it and you hold or you assert that very non-existent thing as existed. Okay, so treat or view, concern and consider and believe something does not exist, and then assert or believe that is existed. That is the wrong view. And so when we think about this, let's say the omniscient, right? And the transcendent subduer or the omniscient enlightened being, Buddha Shakyamuni, right? Omniscient being who see everything, right? Who clearly understand, clearly perceiving everything and as what they really are. And then he shared his enlightened experience with his followers. And then that very advice or the transmission of the experiential realization and the teaching been passed down all the way to our teacher, right? The teacher you met and have taught you. And so what is really the essence of this teaching, and what is the essence of all the Buddha's lectures are all about, right? It's essentially is to help us to address the basic interest ourselves, the basic interest or innate the needs of ourselves. That is, we want to be happy. We do not want to experience, like the text say, the slightest misery. So that's our reality. That's who we really want to be. But the way how to be there, how to achieve this goal, has been taught by Buddha. And Buddha, upon to its attainment of full, perfect enlightenment, and he fully realized and taught us from his enlightened experience is that as a human being, as any sentient being, as long as you wish to free yourself from suffering, then you need working on, right, the path. You need to take action and to eliminate, right, the causes of suffering, right? And as long as you want to be happy, and you need to address or focus on or cultivate the causes of happiness. The cause of happiness is a virtuous action or deeds, and the causes of suffering again is non-virtuous deeds, right? It's misdeeds, non-virtuous deeds. And those virtuous deeds and non-virtuous deeds, generally speaking, is manifested through or can be executed generally through the three doors or three aspects of our state of being. That is, first of all, is we would commit to the causes of suffering. This is a negative misdeeds or negative action, and by our body, acting something bodily, right, or verbally, and then mentally. So then it will in result the sufferings or produces the experience of suffering. Similarly, with the body and speech and the mind, we also can dedicate ourselves to the virtuous action, virtuous deeds. But the problem is because ourself, and particularly because of the misperception of self as a wrong view, under the influence of a wrong view, and even though we really care very much, wanted to achieve our goal of happiness, and we have heard that even we have some kind of faith in what Buddha have taught, by doing or dedicate the virtuous action or deeds, you will be happy, and by engaging or committed to the negative action and misdeeds, and you will suffer. We even believe and understand that, but still under the influence of a wrong view, due to the misperception of self. It's a very wrong view. We hardly to fully dedicate ourselves bodily, verbally, mentally to the virtuous action. Sadly enough, when we look at examine our action, so we are the way we commit ourselves or dedicate ourselves or put ourselves into the actions of misdeeds, both and verbally and mentally and bodily. The way we're doing, we acting, we sort of commit ourselves to those misdeeds. A negative action is like the water fell down from the up to the down, like the water hill. Okay, water fell down from the up the hill to the down the ground. That's how we are doing. Sort of, we just that's our reality. Are we all doing this? Is because of this misperception of self, right? And we hear, we believe, we have some kind of faith in Buddha, but we fail to, again, 100% to admit, 100% to dedicate to his advice and follow his teaching, is to take his teaching 100% into our heart, is again because of this misperception of self, and this is wrong view. Right? So just again, this wrong view is, what is the wrong view then? This wrong view is represented by the that very ill mentality, a mental attitude. That is, you consider, you believe, and you assert something that is not there, it does not exist, but you believe it is there and that it existed, and then you claim that is you. Then you generated this a strong attachment to that very misperception of self, and which we here called as self-cherishment.
Nyung jati jitung de toki khwa tha me pani tangi war no pa tang ding tamajur handi de pa tame go ka ta tung yang de toki kyun chongsil chang man thongwe wimel derzo kambo taw hali hari longwa teng de nan de sta de mari pala jar ra Mashiwa jarong so kar zina chitang nyomu jati jitong said sanji chomda chipong jati jitong songwa de nyomu jati jitong nyambor nyomu jati jitong sewan so do chala chubi ni jitong sedang la chubi ni jitong tamu la chubi ni jitong tsum chanya bala chubi ni jitong tangga jatang do ten jira ta ko den nyomu ni nyambor ri nyomu ri nyambo la chipong ri so chipong jati jitong de songwa ri ko ta chipong jati jitong de ne da tong khura thame bane ani te ani nyamnen ma che nyomu jati jitong jis dang ne ani nyomu jati jitong jis dang ne kar che zna khura thame ba thuma me bane da war da kyawa yang ne yang da yang le ne rol tik ne la khor dang te tere ta tangi war da part be sanji chom den de na be nang nang ta thuma de ba kan la sha na thomar tong cho dang ani da je part chuni zo chen bo je tamong mo zo sanji da dang ne chola shang chalo sa dang je dang mo ga 찍바리 대자당 아주 단다워도 되게 코로나 네다워도 이거 거즈나 등도 저러데 한바드 버 비고가 버서 데치 땅 데치 용사 타라도 탐치 빌람나로 람고도 용조바 메시와데 까지니 다동연도 답기 근 종실장만 통하네 데 고카나 까다 단다 안에 지 요모 균도 중앙으로 노바 장는 거 도만 반 코로나 등의 용주도 데 균다도 만 통하지니 무메 바다오 데네 다 서레즈나 마리파테 마시 마리파 응그락 제원 좀 진정 그 마리파트레 다 마리파게 마시와 되게 되셔 단디카트 다 lokta다 마시오니 잡으려 lokta즈나 마임 바즈 임브른 좀 비쌈로 지르 마시오나 there is 닐리게 니와메 바지리 오야
Okay. For beginningless time, we have been cycling through cyclic existence because of the 84,000 disturbing emotions. This also applies to the numerous troubles and pains we have experienced until today. Yet, despite having closed many doors to the achievement of benefits and pleasure, we still lack the vision to see even the slightest defect in any of this. Here, within us, is a clay image with blind eyes. What is saying here is essentially talks about the ignorance, and the example or the image, and if you like it, the metaphor, and the author used and is the clay image, let's say statue, okay? Some kind of statue like the entity, even though the statue and or something like that, the image have been very well crafted and very well made it. There's a kind of eyes and every features and very well and been very well made. But as you know that it doesn't matter how that statue, the eyes of the image of the person, right, looks like how real they look like, the eye is wide open, anything. However, it's still blind. Why? Because that is a clean image. Okay, that person's eyes, the statue of that person's eyes is looks like the eyes, but it's blind eyes. It's not real eyes. So this metaphor teaches us that despite the matter of fact that we think our eyes are widely open, we can see the things, right, and it's real. But if you sort of questioning about whether our eyes, the real see the actuality and see what it truly is or truly are, and we will see that in fact, and so because of the ignorance, our eyes, actually the knowledge regarding the form of knowledge or the system of the knowledge we have developed and so far, and in fact is failed to identify, to see the actuality. So therefore, it's nothing better than that statue, the eyes of a statue, or eyes of in the image with the blind eyes, and the clay image with the blind eyes. Like the author says here, so we have within our very negative aspect of mind. So we do have 84,000 disturbing emotions, 84,000 different kinds of disturbing emotions, afflictive emotions. And the Buddha identified them and then give us 84 heaps or pieces of advice, teachings, and help us to overcome those 84,000 disturbing emotions. How did this been divided? And according to the literature, and so 84,000 different disturbing emotions has the equal number of antidotes. Okay, equal number of antidotes or remedies to help the individual practitioners overcome the impact of that 84,000 different kinds of disturbing emotions. Here, how it's been sort of arranged, the literature taught. It thought that out of 84,000 heaps or the pieces of Buddha's teaching in terms of counteracting or taking as antidote, right? To eliminate, to help the practitioner eliminate the afflictive or disturbing emotions, is that there are 21,000 pieces of out of 84,000 pieces of advice or teachings of the path, and you can, if you like, a method, and so 81 of them been directed or used and can be used to counteracting or to address or to eliminate the 81,000 different kind of the negativities, such as attachment, okay? Such as attachment. So 81,000 of Buddha's teaching and can be applied to address the problems caused by attachment. Similarly, and another 81,000 and the teachings of Buddha can be applied to address the afflictive emotion such as aversion or hatred or anger related the destructive emotions. And another 81,000 of teachings being directed to or can be applied to address or fix the problems caused by avidya or ignorance. Okay, ignorance. And then the rest of the 81,000 of the heaps of the Buddha's teaching and can be applied to address or fix the problems caused by those the three of them and in the manner of equally or evenly, okay, evenly or equal. So see that therefore there's 84,000 different kind of disturbing emotions, right? Has right and 84,000 different types of teachings or method as antidote, and Buddha made it available for his followers to overcome any problems. So, and that's how been divided and some kind of general knowledge about concerning the 84,000 and different teachings of Buddha, right? But it doesn't matter this how this been divided or what. If we simplify this the matters involved with this such a large number, essentially, and when you come to the actual practice, then it's not you don't need to worry about this huge number, but rather just go straight ahead to the heart of the problem. The heart of the problem is like here it says that the ignorance. Okay, how are you going to confronting or to do something about is root cause of all the problem, that is avidya or ignorance. As the text says that from the beginningless, right? From the beginningless, and because of our ignorance, and we never been really able to do something about this root cause of all the samsara trouble, that is ignorance. Indeed, we know Buddha was ordinary being, right? Just like the Drupal Genle, the great yogi from Tibet and Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and so he sort of very humorously said that when Buddha Shakyamuni, he said, you Shakyamuni, and at one point and in the past, you and me the same. Okay, you just like me, and you and me, and nothing really. You are nothing, anything special from the me, and we were equal. However, and because you dedicated to the Dharma practice and you perfected the path of enlightenment, so therefore you become from an ordinary sentient being, you become an enlightened being, a transcendent subduer. But me, on the other hand, because I did not dedicate myself to Dharma practice, so therefore, and I am still traveling in the samsara, the circle of the samsara. So anyway, that's the main point is that even though we want to be happy and we try to get into the the place, or if you will, and of the happiness or the liberation, but because of our ignorance, and we sort of sealed all the possible exits or the doors, right? We locked them. We're going to close all the doors, and sort of locked in ourselves inside, and never be able to get out of this samsara. And all this happening, and whatever is going on and in our life at the present, all is because of the ignorance, right? So we have been that way in the past. We are still like that person in or the clay image of a blind person. We still have no eyes to see it. Right? All this happened and is because of the self-cherishment. And the self-cherishment, as we talked about earlier, which is the form of wrong view. Okay, wrong view. But here, the thing is, fail to see the actuality. That is not a wrong view. That is ignorance. We must see the difference between the wrong view and the ignorance. Wrong view is like I talked before. You consider or you assert, you believe something which does not, ultimately does not exist, or not. I'm sorry. It does not exist at all, but you believe it's existed. And that is a wrong view. If you hold such a view and consider have such a consider in such a way, and or view something that's never ever does not exist at all, but you do believe that it exists, you assert it, then that is a wrong view. So you are the holders of a wrong view. But ignorance, on the other hand, or by contrast, ignorance is something you have no idea. Okay, you have no idea, or you are never ever be informed, right? And never have no any knowledge about it. So that state of unknowing, confusion, and or lack of knowledge, that is ignorance.
Oh yeah, 다 수고들.
No, 저 주제가 까마종아.
Oh yeah, ang 동시하고 뒤바로라. 지금 뭐멍이 사가 초수정 그거니 동시로라. 때 동시 못 하고 있는 거리. 지금 그거 말이 왜 좋아해 그거. 이 동시 그거나 아니 딱 그래서 샤트지니 곰냠누지니로 그런 거 당진당. 샘것도 다 정도 찾던 거 되게 동시에 진짜 디나 지단이 그런 것도 디카트도 막 소란들이 좀 되라. 니 님분들의 텐들 봐요. kunima chik chonyang chungombo chonyang rigangla chanji that is the jindag chik kola to march that chik ska sa tong chungwa put puni de jindag the pa person ne kuzon ta nyam gom chik gom jai the so gom jai so ne semnanga tamba tong sijing ge semna de ma ta se tong de chik ta ku khang gar gom gom de gom de pe shi chini ku samsung ne bi ta jindag ta ju chi Marta, Zamada, Zodokojamni, Kanda Sagu, the Kandachigun, the Gosha Yatam, Luchi, the Shise. Did it Lamso Semga Haku, Tashi Simon, Lamso the name, Damat to be sheriff, Damat to be sheriff, and Nicola Pele. That doesn't pay Nyambo Tene, that told them down, Toronto, Tanda, or Tani, 곰데스 또 통통으로 곰자한테 결혼배 야금마자 던지지니 말라도 그 때문에 결혼을 잡아보고 저기 던지지니 노이즈 지금 던지지 영화 단다버 결혼 코로아단들이 강을제 결혼국제 결혼배 아득 자리에서 초등동주다 당진이 야 걸서 거리네 거기 돌로지네 하하즈가 호호즈 나 레지즈가 고치기가 용 거지 저 다음에 또 베셔르즈 던지 직사 친구도 단다버 게 통마송 nga tanda par de bendela deni roar samjin thamchen thwa bombo dang lama ma ba yopo dang ane bu ju yong zu ba ngi be yo de go yes ngi pe chu dang ni tanda war de ngi kang la ba de ngi khala nya ji gores ti gang la nga khor ka jitin chi gi yores to na ga ma na ma ga nya na ga ma nya ma ga se tan jitin chi gi yores jitin chi gi de ga ma ta yor zu chang ma wang de yong gores ngi tanda par de system thamche wang de ni ngi de 코란당한 코랄레슨 주 코랄 코레데 되어서 이 교관이 용하지 네 배고 킬린 지문도 어때지네네 지나 담에 또 쉐르겠다 코스 문부 받네 랑지기 마트 받데 되게 곰치니 똑기에니 코랑배 당진도 좀 당나리 좀 내더니 그 곰들이 한지리 그거 뭐만 냠버스들 냠버 잡다 좀 어때 어떻게 동시에 때 뭐네 배지 냠버도 좀 나트리도 있으라고 요 말다 한테 비교 종이 단도 저거 저를 이렇게 딩걸로 들어가는 게 로고 선들 그다는 알아봤어 어떻게 되지니 따지도 샘라 정도 때도 되지 그랬다 그러기 샘도 수수 샘라 따스당 샘가라 사무당 득자나 남성텔라 샘 잠보디가 니식전에 되자 따 듣지 버스다 로정도 되지 무슨 라면나도 지지라면 냠는 지래 말라리와니 좀 때려 뭐 소지 좀 되는 좀 되고 뭐 용어라
Yeah. Okay, and it is about 11:15, and so now let me share a short story to relate to the topics that we have discussed today. My story is about my reading and my experiences of reading a very famous book. Actually, it's kind of a biography of a famous yogi and a practitioner from northeast Tibet, Amdo region of Tibet, and his name is Shaggar Tsotug. So Shaggar Tsotug is a hermit and used to be hermits and great yogi who spent a great deal of time and always in a very remote area and dedicate himself into the meditation. So he is a highly realized Lama, and then he made a book based on his practice and his experience of realization. And the book is the sounds called the Sounds of Shaggar Tsotug Roncho, the self-liberation of the sound of the self-liberation of the Shaggar Tsotug. And what is the story I have read that was a long time ago is that the story goes like this. One day, while this eminent master, Shagaba, he was meditating in the center or the small island at the center of the biggest the lake, inner lake on earth, actually. It's called Blue Lake, in Tibetan called the Tsongombo. Some probably know by Kokono, and sometimes in English as Kokono or Blue Lake, Tsongombo in Tibetan. And he was meditating in the small island in the heart of, in the center of this lake. And so while he was in the retreat in this remote area, one day, one of his sponsor or his follower, donor, and as a patron who visited him and then gave him a package or the piece of butter as an offering to support his meditation, his retreat. And after the they had a short chat, and then the patron left. So then Shagabao or Shaka Tsotorondro himself, and then set back to his meditation practice. While he was meditating, and he realized that through the power of mindfulness and mental introspection, he was meditating, right? And he depended upon the two forces of the meditation, that is mindfulness and the mental introspection. While he was relying on apply these two forces and to meditate, right, and to arise the state of the meditative absorption. On the course of while he was attempted to do so, then he realized, because he was applied this mindfulness and the mental introspection, he realized that he is not actually trying to arise to the state of meditative absorption, but rather what he sees is his mind is not doing the same thing as he's wanted to be. The mind is actually doing something opposite. He clearly see his mind is busy and have this plane, make it the plane, say, oh, okay, now, and I received this a big piece of butter, and so now how I'm going to divide it into pieces and then use it or consume it accordingly, and how I'm going to mix it with my tsamba, and how I'm going to eat it, and so how you're going to be, the taste would be looks like, and what he's seeing is he see his mind is very much busy engaging to make this planning how to consuming the butter. At that point, and the master Shagabao Shaka Tsotorondro, and they immediately realized that this game being played by this misperception of self. Okay, he clearly thought, oh, look how this misperception of self tried to fool me, and right, and try to distract me from my meditation. And so at that very point, and he stopped, and then he began to confronting and to this grasping of self person, or the misperception of self, with the wisdom that understand the selflessness of a person, or wisdom which perceiving the self is devoid of inherently existed entity. So with that wisdom, then he began to singing song, the spiritual realization, the sound of spiritual realization, and this misperception of self, of grasping of self of person. He says, hey, and damn on you, and you think you can fool me, you can cheat me? No way. And you did this to me from the beginningless, right? You put me under you tied me up to the cyclic existence, samsara, right? And up until today, and you tortured me, and I had so much hardship, right? So much miseries, and up until this point. And today, I caught you. I will not let you do the same thing to me, which you did, like you did before. At that point, the grasping of self, or the misperception of self, the self-cherishment, and responded to him, to his wisdom and sound of realization. He responded, he says, ha ha ha, ho ho ho, what a funny. And what you said, and making me feel, I want to, not just I want to laugh, but I want to cough. and I will even feels so funny to and Google myself, and because you think you can win the battle with me, no way. He says no way, and you got to give up because I am the master and I am the king of the entire three samsaric existence, or the realms of samsara existence, and I am the master, the ruler, and of the every single living being, and I have strongest militaries and armies, and which you can ever imagine. So I have the 8 divisions of the army, which can defeat everyone, no matter and you are a Holy Lama, and or you are emperor, and or you are most intelligent and most accomplished scholar, or you are a beggar, or you are poor, whoever, it doesn't matter. Everyone is my servant because I have this strongest 8 army, the 8 divisions of army. Those 8 divisions of army, I can use them to defeat anyone, anywhere, all the time. The 8 division is that army is so what do we call it? Is 8 concerns of a mundane, or 8 worldly dharma, 8 different kind of worldly dharma, or 8 concerns of the mundane concerns of the mundane, and like one and like to be praised and don't like to be blamed. One love to be feels sensational pleasure, and but don't like the pain, and one like to be raised and don't like to be sort of treated as inferior, and yeah, so you pleased to be to gain, but dislike to be lost, and so those 8 dharmas. 他的节目的唱什么？
他唱什么也讲个简
这意思。
那么个，都那个，没那么高去了，你那高，没你那么高去了，你那高，没你那么高去了，真的真的。
是在，
你话做那高啊，你跟做那高，对，这个吃松啊，真的，那高着去了，你的呢？
你这是真的，
也把它找把它，真的。
你那么个多呢？
都没你了，都把他们把你了，也把他们把你了，得当这个你了，真的的。
年的都是。
那你怎么说？
那边你怎么？你怎么？你看中的什么有的，但就是。对，咱这看到有的打这种没有可，根本就不按的language过。So hold on, please give a second. I forgot the how to translate this, and I used to remember. All right. Okay, so 8 worldly concern, and there's 8 worldly concern here is what the translation saying. Yes, so attachment to gain, pleasure, press, and fame. Ore, ta de nian zhao ge nian ba nian zhao ge nian ba de. Yeah, yeah. So attachment to the gain and the pleasure and press and the fame, and then aversion to the opposite, aversion to loss, pain, blame, and a bad reputation. Okay, so yes, the 8 divisions. The last division of the 8 division of the enemies of the army of the grasping of self person, or the ignorance or self-cherishment, is that and you loved to be famous, okay, famous and very reputable and highly popular, but you hate or don't like to experience any bad reputation, or to be not being famous. So and yes, so this the ignorance or the grasping self, a person who sound back, or thinking the sound back to Shagaba, and said, look, this is how, this is why I am so powerful, I'm so strong, because I can defeat with these 8 divisions of army, I can defeat anyone, okay, from the highest peak of the existence and down to the hill. And that's why it says whole 3 existence, the realms of existence under my control. Okay? But up until here, and the respond how the ignorance or self-cherishment or the grasping of self-person responded, then the master, the great yogi, and of Shagaba, and who responded. The way he responded is that by meditate on the 3 and the emptiness of the 3 door dharma, the dharmas of emptiness of a 3 door. Yeah. So he used the method of the dharma of emptiness of 3 door, meaning that the emptiness of meditator, and the emptiness of the meditation, and the emptiness of meditating. Okay, and those 3, I am fully realized the emptiness of the meditator, meditating, and the meditation, and then finally he successfully defeated the powers of or the challenges of this grasping the self person, or the self-cherishment. And so then he thinking the sound back, and as his realization, or express his joys of his realizations. So anyway, through this story, and the point, and then the author is I'm trying to making here is that, and this is basically is the model of the mind training. That's how we should train our mind be trained. And so yes, so that's how the other masters did, and from Shagaba and Shakarba, and then when you go all the way back to the like a great another eminent master yogi of Tibet, and Milarepa, and then of course the Buddha, all the enlightened being. That's how they train their mind. That's how they attend the enlightenment. So I read this story a long time ago, even though at that time I didn't really see the depth of this story, and but I found it was really interesting, and I feel this story is somehow very resonating, and so that's why I want to share with you. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Oh yeah, that's the term some 지금 라면 먹는 동네 지나 정말. 자,
So that's all for today and today's discussion. And thank you very much for joining us again. And now we're going to recite in the prayers of Lamrim.
Lo me mare ge don ro nam de ya ve wang wo da ye de ma son be zhe ro gong de yang be yang jie zhe wei jie song de dang be ren ba gen sang yang jie zhou nie zhe bi yan na nie jie shou rang ye zhe zhen do bei nan jie xu zhao zhe wei zhang wei tan wei zhou wei ye jie wen bo se shi zhou wei dan ba ye rang zhen zhi ji dan ba ren jian zhou ge ma qiao cha jiang yang bei zhi wei shou de yang jie chen bo ye ran zhu ba yi and de sa wer shi ber shu se jie ya wei ma xiong zhen de la zhou xiang zhou lang ji ren bie jiang ta du nan jie ye la pa de xiang ya wen zhe ba rang de zhong zhi lam san de bei ten jian zhu xi zhang ge jian se xi me dang me ce ro gong de ya wei hua yi nam dang zhe wer ma ye ji gang zi de ba zhou lan shi zhu ji ce zhen zhe la zong ba de ye ji te de nan jie da de zhou xi zhang zha xi yang zu zhou gen jiang zhi liu ji ba de za wei lama rinpoche dake nyingara kame tanshila kate chenpo kone jizon de gozon tuje moto zato so jo senjo rinpoche maje bana jejo je jewa nyamba me paraya konde kondo pewar sho kare rave kore shankandur pendant dewa male jungwe ne jene zon tante janso yeshabe sente pardo tenjaro je jamba kawo chetar jemba don kundu sangbo deya deshen de deda kunje jisu Dewa deda tamje rado ngo desu shabe jawa tamje jangwa kama shudo ngapa Toje gewe zawa debun jasangwo chuje rabdo ngor je pande jungne tamba darshan je tanze kyo tamche kogan zang le jen gongla de je jungwe ne sanje tamba tato je je tsere kunde yawa zongka we tangcho shinyen nge sen zabe jewe ngabe la zang tenye le kache zayang dobar ma je Monomonopi, Yahweh Tamba, Kowe Nacho Sujan Zume, Durangambe, Juba Mali, Wachosan, Dembe, Zane, Jirji, Simchen, Napa, Jenye, Banyudo, Nane, Kowe Nane, Mali, Watato, Shungwa, Meper, Sho, Nemo, De La, Sendele, Nime, Hoyan, De La, Jan, Nimsen, Tado, De La, Kunjo, Sunje, Taji, Sho. Oh ya,老说跟我个直接，
老说呀，领老说，
我那特家能
老说嘛，呀，
从我老大请做的，帮我做的，那就做阿妈的，操嘛。